Great people. They're great people. Okay?
Are you looking forward to going to Afghanistan or going to the Middle East?
We're going to do some interesting things at the appropriate time. We'll be doing some very interesting things. Excuse me?
Do you have a sense of when the trip might be at?
I do, but I can't tell you. You're the last people I can tell. How is everything in Florida doing? Okay. Weather's good, right? It's Florida. Welcome to the Southern White House.
Does the CIA have a reporting of MBS demanding Khashoggi silence?
I don't want to talk about it. You have to ask them.
What about the border, Mr. President?
Well, the border's coming along very well. It's become very strong. We're getting some terrible decisions from the Ninth Circuit, as usual. I don't know if we've ever had a victory in the Ninth Circuit. We have to appeal it. I guess a vast number of their decisions get overturned, generally speaking. And it's a shame. It's a shame. It's a disgrace, frankly. And essentially, they're legislating. They're saying what to do. Some judge sitting in some location very far away is telling our incredible military and law enforcement what to do, and it's not right. And it's been going on like that for a long time. And we are doing really well, considering the laws are a disaster. And if we had the right laws, it would be a lot less expensive and would do it a lot easier. But we don't have the right laws, and we have people interpreting the laws, and they always give us a bad interpretation. So hopefully we've shown some light on the Ninth Circuit. I know that Chief Justice John Roberts, has been speaking a little bit about it, and I think and I have a lot of respect for him. I like him and I respect him, but I think we have to use some common sense. This Ninth Circuit, everybody knows it. It's totally out of control. And what they're doing, what they're saying, the opinions are very unfair to law enforcement. They're very unfair to our military. And they're very unfair, most importantly, to the people of our country, because I'm keeping them safe. And you see how we fortified things, and all of that vast amount of fighting that you see going on at the border, it's all taking place in Mexico. And Mexico cannot believe how tough these people are. The mayor of Tijuana and so many others had said, boy, these are tough people. They start fighting right away. They're tough people. You have many criminals in that caravan, and the big caravan hasn't arrived yet. And we're very well fortified. We have fencing and walls like very few people have. We've been able to do it rather quickly. Cosentino wire, and so many other things are there now that they didn't have. And they're not coming through. We're not letting criminals into our country. Got to come in legally. You have to come in through a process. And we want people to come in because I have many, many companies moving back into the United States. They're opening up car plants. They're opening up factories all over the country. The United States is booming. We have the lowest unemployment we've essentially in most groups ever had. And so we have a lot of good things happening. We need workers, but they have to come in legally. We want them to come in, but they have to be people that want to work and want to do a great job for our country. They come in through a merit system. They have to come in. Right now, under the Democrats, they don't have a merit system. They want open borders and people can just flow in. You have tremendously dangerous people in those caravans. And we do not want them coming into the United States, and we're not going to let them. We're throwing out MS-13 and so many others. We're throwing them out of our country by the thousands that got in here over the years. And we're throwing them out by the thousands, and we're bringing back towns. We're making towns safe, and we're doing an excellent job. But we're getting hurt by the Ninth Circuit very, very badly. Everybody files in the Ninth Circuit. I haven't seen anybody file anyplace else. They automatically go to the Ninth Circuit. They could go any place in the country. And I think we're going to have to stop that somehow. The judges are going to have to get together, or Congress is going to have to get together and stop it, because they're taking advantage of our country by filing consistently and always, just about, that I see, in the Ninth Circuit. Even our legislation that we did have passed, it failed in the Ninth Circuit, it failed in the Ninth Circuit appeal, it then won in the Supreme Court. And it's just a shame, because it's really hurting people. It's hurting our law enforcement tremendously. And now that the military is on the border, it's really hurting our military. And frankly, when they hear these decisions, these are professional, the military, the law enforcement, first responders. They can't believe the decisions that are being made by these judges. This is what they do. They do law enforcement, law and order. And they get these decisions down. They say, who makes these decisions? They're not into the, lawyer things. They say, who makes these decisions? Who are the people that are giving these decisions that are going to make it unsafe for us, meaning law enforcement and military, and making it unsafe for the United States? So despite that, we have a very powerful border, and a lot of good things are happening.
Mr. President, are you concerned that by not punishing Saudi Arabia more, it could send a message to other world leaders that they can do as they please and America could be weak in their eyes?
No, not at all. Saudi Arabia has been a long-time strategic partner. They're investing hundreds of billions of dollars in our country. I mean, hundreds of billions. They're keeping the oil prices low. I see that yesterday, one of the papers, I was blamed for causing traffic jams because I have the oil prices so low. Well, I have the oil prices low because I'm jawboning them and others all the time to keep them low. Nobody ever did that. No president ever did that. And gasoline is now at a very low number. But I actually got even beat up for that, where they said the president has the gasoline so low that he's causing traffic jams. Can you believe this one? I said, that's one nobody ever thought of. So anyway, no, but I'll always, let's have some traffic jams. We want low oil prices, and Saudi Arabia's really did a good job in that respect. They pumped out a lot more oil than was going to be pumped out when I called them about 4 weeks ago. And if you look at oil 4 weeks ago, it was at 82, 83, and it was going up to 100 a barrel. That would have doubled your prices and even tripled your prices at the car for gasoline. And instead, you have very low gas prices all over the country. That's because of what I did, and Saudi Arabia helped us. But very importantly, they're investing billions of dollars. They're buying their equipment from us. And remember this, they don't have to buy it from us. They can buy it from Russia, and they can buy it from China. They make very good equipment. They don't make as good equipment as we make. Nobody does. Nobody even close. But they make very good equipment. So they can spend that money in Russia and China and other places, and that is not acceptable.
Well, the CIA, Mr. President, concluded with confidence that in the...
They didn't conclude. No, Josh, they didn't conclude. I'm sorry. Wait.
You think they did not?
Josh, no, they didn't conclude. They did not come to a conclusion. They have feelings certain ways, but they didn't have the report. And you can ask Mike, they have not concluded. Nobody's concluded. I don't know if anyone's going to be able to conclude that the Crown Prince did it. But I will say this, I don't know. I don't know. But whether he did or whether he didn't, he denies it vehemently. His father denies it, the king, vehemently. The CIA doesn't say they did it. They do point out certain things, and in pointing out those things, you can conclude that maybe he did or maybe he didn't. But that was another part of the false reporting, because a lot of you said yesterday that they said he did it. Well, they didn't say that. They said he might have done it. That's a big difference. But they're vehemently denying it, and we have hundreds of thousands of jobs. Do people really want me to give up hundreds of thousands of jobs? And frankly, if we went by this standard, we wouldn't be able to have anybody as an ally, because look at what happens all over the world. But then you could also take a look at Iran, take a look at Syria, where millions of people have been just slaughtered horribly, horribly. You take a look at what's going on in Iran and the vicious situation that's taking place there and the number of people that are being killed and slaughtered. You take a look all over the world. We're not going to be able to let's not deal with anybody. The fact is that Saudi Arabia is tremendously helpful in the Middle East. If we didn't have Saudi Arabia, we wouldn't have a big base. We wouldn't have any reason, probably. I mean, if you look at Israel, Israel would be in big trouble without Saudi Arabia. So what does that mean? Israel's going to leave? You want Israel to leave? We have a very strong ally in Saudi Arabia. We have an ally that said they did not commit at the top level, the Crown Prince, the King. They did not commit this atrocity, and it's an atrocity. It's a terrible thing. I dislike it more than you do. But the fact is, they've been a very strong ally. They create tremendous wealth. They create really tremendous number of jobs in their purchases. And very importantly, they keep the oil price down. If you want to see a global depression, all you have to do is lift the oil price $50 a barrel, which could happen very quickly once we lose that relationship. So I hate the crime. I hate what's done. I hate the cover-up. And I will tell you this, the Crown Prince hates it more than I do, and they have vehemently denied it. The CIA points it both ways. As I said, maybe he did, maybe he didn't, but I will say very strongly that it's a very important ally. And if we go by a certain standard, we won't be able to have allies with almost any country. Okay?
Who should be held accountable?
Maybe the world should be held accountable, because the world is a vicious place. The world is a very, very vicious place. You look at what's happening in China, and you look at what's happening in so many different countries. I could name many countries. You look at what's happening with terrorism all over the world. That's the other thing with Saudi Arabia. They really are. They're putting up tremendous amounts of money to actually fight terrorism. Now, they were a part of terrorism, and nobody's going to try and justify that. They were a big part of it. But they're spending a lot of money, and they're opening up, and they're doing a lot of things that are very good. They're really opening up that country for a lot of good. Until this happened, there were a lot of people saying a lot of good things about the Crown Prince. So he strongly denies it. He vehemently denies it. And my policy is very simple. America first, keep America great again. And that's what I'm doing, and we're doing better than anybody thought even possible. Yes, ma'am.
Sir, you've been talking to the troops. I'm wondering if
To who?
The troops today.
Yes.
I'm wondering if you can tell us at what point do you want to withdraw troops from Afghanistan?
Well, we're always looking to do the right thing, and we'll be seeing over a period of time. But we're looking, I just spoke to Afghanistan, as you know. We're always looking to do whatever's right. We're in very strong negotiations in Afghanistan right now, which a lot of people don't know about. This may be the first, but we are in very, very strong negotiation in Afghanistan. We'll see what happens. If something happens, that would be a great thing. I'd be very happy about that. I really think the people of Afghanistan also, and they are good fighters, and they fought for a long time. They fought for a lot longer than we fought. They've been fighting for many, many, many decades. But I think they're tired of fighting. And we'll see what happens, but we are talking about peace. And we'll see if that happens.
Negotiations with?
We have negotiations going on. I don't know that they're going to be successful. Maybe they're not. Probably they're not. Who knows? They might be. They might not be. You know my attitude on all of that stuff, whether it's North Korea or anybody else. Maybe they are going to be successful. Maybe they're not going to be. But we have negotiations going on right now in Afghanistan. Okay?
Mr. President, what is your response to people who say that a phone call wasn't enough for the troops today?
Well, nobody's done more for the military than I have. I took the budget from very little to $700 billion and then $716 billion. And I'm now going over to the Coast Guard, where I did last year, and I will probably a lot. But we're going over to the Coast Guard. I really believe nobody. In fact, a number of generals were on television over the weekend, and just unrelated, but they all mentioned the fact that nobody's done as a president for the military in a long time what I've done, because I've taken spending where you had a depleted military and it wasn't being fixed, and it was a mess, and it frankly put us in danger. And I was able to get Congress to give us $700 billion and now $716 billion for our military. And I've also done more for the vets than anybody's ever done. I got choice approved. They've been trying to get choice for 40 years, more than 40 years. They couldn't get it. Where a vet can go directly to a doctor now, instead of waiting on line for 2 months and 2 weeks and 3 weeks, and amounts of time that are unthinkable to anybody, including yourselves. So I think I've done more than anybody else, certainly in many, many years and probably in many decades.
Mr. President, are there any updates on the troops that are being sent to the border in regards to the caravan?
No troops. We're going to have a strong border. Our southern border is going to be very strong. You heard me speaking to some of the folks just now in different parts of the world, and they're so proud of the job they're doing. And you got to have borders. If you don't have borders, you don't have a country. I mean, the Democrats want open borders, and they want these people coming in. Many of those people are criminals, okay, and have been so adjudged. We know who they are. They have records. They have some very substantial criminal records, some very bad criminal records. They're in the caravan. You saw what happened in Tijuana, where a number of the people said, these are tough people. They start fighting. They're starting fistfights. They have fistfights all over the streets. They're starting fistfights. They said, these are not like normal, innocent people. These are people, you talk to them and they start a fistfight. I don't want that in this country. Okay?
President, what about the idea that the military may use lethal force against these migrants?
If they have to, they're going to use lethal force. I've given the okay. Yeah, if they have to, I hope they don't have to. But, you know, you're dealing with a minimum of 500 serious criminals. So I'm not going to let the military be taken advantage of. I have no choice. Do I want that to happen? Absolutely not. But you're dealing with rough people. You ask the people in Tijuana, Mexico. They opened up with wide arms. Just come in, let me help you, let us take care of you. And within 2 days, now they're going crazy to get them out. They want them out. Because things are happening. Bad things are happening in Tijuana. And again, it's not in this country because we've closed it up. 2 days ago, we closed the border. We actually just closed it. We're saying nobody's coming in because it was out of control. But you take a look at Tijuana, Mexico, and you see what's happening there. It's really a bad situation.
What do you mean you close the border and nobody's coming in? What do you mean by that?
If we find that it's uncontrollable, Josh, if we find that it gets to a level where we are going to lose control or where people are going to start getting hurt, we will close entry into the country for a period of time until we can get it under control.
The entire border?
The whole border. I mean the whole border. And Mexico will not be able to sell their cars into the United States where they make so many cars at great benefit to them, not at great benefit to us, by the way. But at least now we have a good new trade deal with Mexico and with Canada. But we will close the border, and that means that Mexico's not going to be able to sell their cars into the United States until it's open. But we're going to either have a border or we're not. And when they lose control of the border on the Mexico side, we just close the border. And we have a very powerful border. We built a very strong border in a very short period of time, and the military has been fantastic. The job they've done. And by the way, Border Patrol and ICE, all of the law enforcement we have involved, and we have local law enforcement too, they have done an incredible job. And they've wanted this for years. You know, I'm the first president that's done it to this extent, but they've wanted this for years. And some of the presidents, I guess they didn't care, or they wanted open borders. I don't think they wanted open borders, because most of them, if you go back to 2006, they all approved essentially a wall, a very powerful fence, which is pretty much the same thing. But in 2006, if you look Obama, you look at Hillary Clinton, you look at Schumer, all of the people that are standing up protesting, they think it's good for them politically. See, I think it's very bad for them politically. I think the fact that they're weak on the border is very, very bad for them politically. But, you know, I've only been a politician for 3 years, so maybe they know better than me.
Is there going to be a government shutdown over this wall in December?
Could happen, yeah, over border security. The wall is just a part of border security, a very important part, probably the most important part. But could there be a shutdown? There certainly could, and it will be about border security, of which the wall is a part.
Do you think Secretary Nielsen is doing a good enough job?
Oh, she's in there trying, I'll tell you. It's a tough job. I mean, yesterday she gets a ruling that things that we were doing, a judge that knows nothing about it decided to take law enforcement into his own hands, and he gives a ridiculous ruling. So we'll appeal it. But it makes the job harder. We're still doing the job perfectly. But it makes the job harder, and it makes the job more dangerous. Because a judge made a ruling that was shocking. Okay?
Just to be clear, going back to the idea of shutting down the border, what would it take for you to reach that step and want to do that?
Well, I've already shut it down. I've already shut it down for short periods.
Are you talking about that one border?
No, yeah. I've already shut down parts of the border because it was out of control with the rioting on the other side in Mexico, and I just said shut it down.
What does that look like in practice?
What?
What does that look like in practice to shut down the border?
You see it. I mean, it took place 2 days ago.
Do you have to sign an order? Is there any?
Yeah, they call me up and I sign an order.
Can we get a copy of that?
Oh, you don't need it. Don't worry. It's not that big a deal, but Maybe to some people it is. What we want to do is we want to have a strong border. We want to have people come into our country. I want to have a lot of people come in. We need them. But they have to come in through merit, and they have to come in legally. They have to come in legally. You know, we have a lot of people, millions of people that have been waiting online for years to become citizens of our country. Great people. They went through a whole process. And then these people come in and they think they're just going to walk in and it's a very unfair thing to all of the people that have been waiting online, in some cases for many years, because they've done it right. But they don't think they've done it right because they said, well, how can we do it right? And we go through this very complicated legal process, and they have lawyers and everything else, and then you have people rushing through the border, and they're supposed to stay. It's not happening with me. We've been very tough on the border. I mean, the problem that we have is that I've created and helped create a country that's doing better than it's ever done economically, so a lot of people are coming up here because their countries are not doing well. And perhaps for a reason. But whatever that reason is, their countries are not doing well. Okay, a couple of more. Anybody else?
What about a problem?
Yes, ma'am.
How prepared are you for this meeting with President Xi? How are you preparing for it, and how confident are you?
I'm very prepared. I've been preparing for it all my life. You know, it's not like, oh, gee, I'm going to sit down and study. I know every ingredient. I know every stat. I know it better than anybody knows it. And my gut has always been right. And we're doing very well. And I will tell you, China very much wants to make a deal. China has been taking advantage of the United States for many, many years. They've taken out $400, $500, and $600 billion a year. That doesn't include the theft of intellectual property, which has been horrible, what they've been doing. And you know, it's not a question of preparing. I think I prepared for this meeting. I had a meeting literally right in that corner with President Xi. We have a great relationship. I like him a lot. I think he likes me. He probably likes me less now than he did before we did what we're doing. But we've picked up trillions of dollars in value, and China has lost trillions of dollars in value since I'm president. Trillions, many trillions of value. And we've picked up many trillions of dollars in value. And we are a true economic power, far greater than we were before I became president. We are an economic power that is far greater than we were. When I took over, we were teetering. We were in bad shape. We were going down to -4, -5, -6% in GDP. Instead, last quarter we hit 4.2%. And we are doing very well. I can say this: China wants to make a deal very badly.
Do you think it's going to happen?
Because of the tariffs. Because right now on $250 billion, they'll be paying as of January 1st 25%. And in many cases, they're already paying 25%. On the rest that they're not, they're paying 10%. But the 10% goes to 25% on January 1st. And so they're going to be paying a tremendous amount of money, which frankly is great for our country. We're taking in billions of dollars from China. We never took in 10 cents from China. They took everything from us. We never took anything from them. Now, as of already, right now we're taking in billions. China is, people don't understand this. China is right now paying us billions of dollars a month. That's never happened before. And soon, they're going to be paying us many, many billions of dollars a month. But China wants to make a deal. If we can make a deal, we will.
Are you worried about Matt Whitaker's finances and his potential happiness?
No, Matt Whitaker's a highly respected person. And, you know, once I choose somebody, they always go through hell. But Matt Whitaker is a highly respected man. The Justice Department respects him tremendously. I've spoken to a lot of people. And, you know, the press has been nasty to Matt Whitaker, but I can tell you that he is a highly respected, strong person, and he's doing a great job. Everybody tells me that. He's doing a really great job.
Have you done anything, Mr. President, to try to bring Julian Assange back to the United States?
No, I haven't been asked to, no.
Would you want him to face charges here?
I don't know anything about it. I'm not very familiar with the whole situation, but I would say that if somebody made a request, I guess it's something we consider. I just don't know very much about that situation. Okay? What else? Anything else?
Are you interviewing people this week for new jobs in your administration?
Yeah, we'll have a few. I'm very happy with my cabinet and people that work for me and for us, really work for the country. We have a great cabinet. We have absolute stars. A few of them, I would say, can do very well outside. Everyone's doing well when they leave. That's one thing I'll tell you. Everyone that leaves the Trump administration has come out really well. I'm very proud of a lot of them. Look at Hope. Hope Hicks is doing a fantastic job. She's a fantastic young woman, and I'm very proud of her. Look how she's doing. She's become a very important person in the outside world, and we have many such people where they work here for a year and a half or for a period of time, and they go outside and they do really well. Many of them. So, and that's what I want. I want to see. There's always a lot of change. Yeah, I'll probably be changing a couple, maybe a few, but very little. Overall, we're very happy.
Are you doing interviews this week for that?
Yeah, I'm doing interviews this week. I'll do interviews as we say in the Southern White House. People like doing interviews here.
What jobs are you interviewing for, Mr. President?
Well, I'll let you know. But you'll be seeing. I know. Maybe I will.
Have you talked to Ivanka about her emails?
Yeah, I have, actually. And very innocent, a short period of time, very early on. There was no deletion of emails like the 33,000 plus probably another 100,000 that Hillary Clinton did after she got a subpoena. There was no bleach bit. There was no anything, just innocent emails. There were no classified emails. A much different deal. It's another fake news story. And she did transition out. She was a private person, and then ultimately she transitioned out from private to government. And I believe all of her records are in the Historical Society, the historical records. Much different than the other situation that I've talked about for a long time. But she transitioned out, but everything's in historical records. I'll see you over at the Coast Guard. I'm going over to say hello to the Coast Guard right now, which I look forward to. I'll see you. I don't know if you're going, but if you are, I'll see you there. Thank you all very much.
What are you most thankful for, Mr. President?
For having a great family and for having made a tremendous difference in this country. I've made a tremendous difference in the country. This country is so much stronger now than it was when I took office that you wouldn't believe it. And, I mean, you see it, but so much stronger that people can't even believe it. When I see foreign leaders, they say, we cannot believe the difference in strength between the United States now and the United States 2 years ago. Made a lot of progress. Thank you very much.
Where's the Dr. Mueller? We're going to see you guys at the Coast Guard. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. We're going to see you guys at the Coast Guard.